Hello, friend. In last video, we discussed about security boundaries. This was one of the topic which was left in the sequence. Now, today, what we are going to do is we are going to look into some organizational processes, which is in addition to the process of doing overall security governance. Actually, these processes come in security governance, but we will discuss some specific security processes which are kind of due to the nature of those processes, these require some additional discussion. So let's go to the drawing board and try to see those processes basically. Just a quick recap for those who have not seen the past video, or just to keep this video in continuation with our train of discussion. So we discussed security governance through principles and policies. Therein, first we discussed how an information security policy is conceived. So we start with a security framework and we develop organizational security around that framework. This may be one framework or more than one framework. It depends on the business. The security which we develop, it should be legally defensible, it should be cost effective, and it should be treated as an element of business management. What it means is that it should have the support from senior people in the organization, and basically the business should treat security as an inherent part of it. So there was this discussion which we already did. There was a lot of understanding we got developed past videos. We discussed CIA, which is the fundamental key security principle used everywhere. Then we discussed AAA, protection mechanism, and then we looked into the relationship between security governance, corporate governance, and IT governance. Briefly, we discussed security function as well, how this whole security governance is executed in an enterprise, what are the different type of management layers, and what are the different plans we make to execute security security strategies in terms of strategic, tactical, and operational plans. Now, there are some organizational process which actually require the security governance to be in the front seat, because if it's not, then there is a greater chance of creating risk in the organization. So those processes are like acquisition and merger, divestiture and or employee reduction, and third party integration. So these three things are important thing in addition to the regular business as usual security task and organization executes. So what are these things? If we look into acquisition and merger, as the name suggests, it is about acquiring a new entity. So you have a parent company, it actually acquires a new company. So when you are in this process of merging the two company, then you have to think about the security governance of both the company and how you will come to the common understanding, right? So there you have to keep this thing in mind, that for all acquisitions we have to establish minimum security requirement, right? And this minimum security requirement should be modeled after the parent company's existing security policy. So if I'm running a company and I'm acquiring another company, then we should have a baseline security already developed and agreed for the company which I am going to overtake, and it should be based on my own information security policy, because I'm going to be taking over that company, right? Now, what happens when we do acquisition and merger? Basically, when we have acquisition and merger, then it places an organization at increased level of risk. And we can make a sense of this statement, because when we are merging two company, there are chances that the information of any of the company could be disclosed, So this information disclosure is a concern. And what other concern we have? We may be exposing some of our infrastructure or some of the information in a way that it is lost. So the data loss is also another key important aspect which we should be mindful of. There may come some downtime. How the downtime will come if we are merging to infrastructure and we are not following a common change management process, or a common process to execute the projects which we are running, then we may have a team not working in harmony, and that can bring some downtime. So downtime is another concern. Return of investment can get impacted. This is another point that this relates more to the financial aspect of acquisition and merger. But in terms of the security governance or information security perspective as well, if there is a data loss or information disclosure, and if there's a lawsuit, these kind of thing also impact finances. So we need extra security oversight and increase scrutiny when we are doing any merger and acquisition. Similarly, when we are reducing our headcounts, or we are getting rid of some of the business, that also place an organization at increased level of risk. So here, what we have to be concerned with is that proper sanitization of the assets which we are actually getting rid of is taking place. We are preventing any data leakage. Storage media should be removed and destroyed. There should not be any data remnant, and employees debriefing, NDA review, exit formalities, and all those things should take place, right? So these are the key thing which we should be concerned with. These points are important from an examination point of view as well. So we should have these things in our mind, because when some question comes in terms of that there is an acquisition, and there will be a list of options that which one should be concerned of, then if we have these points in mind, that will help at that time. Okay, now going to the third-party integration. So acquisition, merger, and divestiture I have explained. In third-party security integration, why this is required. So in my last video when I talked about security boundaries, I briefly talked about the external connectivity, and I think before that I also talked about third-party governance. Basically, if you look at here, so third-party governance, as I said, that it may be from both the side. Like a company, if the company is outsourcing some of the business, they are still liable for the security of the outsourced component of the business. Or government can also impose a third-party governance to do some external audit in order to comply with some government regulatory and compliance need. So there we discussed about how we can manage and what are the points we have to consider when we do third-party governance. Similarly, third-party security integration is, I think, this is a part of the third-party, one of the subset of the third-party governance, efforts which we take. That when we outsource some of the components of our business, or in a supply chain as well, if we are manufacturing some product and there are different vendors, and we want to have we want to develop a kind of security or confidence between our company and the vendor, then we have to think about third-party security integration. What all it takes to do third-party security integration is, if you look here, it talks about on-site assessment. We may go for on-site assessment, but before we go for on-site assessment, there is a process of documentation review we have to go through. That means the second point, document exchange and review should take place. Then will be some on-site assessment, process policy review, an agreement that all the processes for risk mitigation or residual risk management or vulnerability assessment, so all those process and related policies will be reviewed. Third-party audit may be required by AIC. It is defined by AICPA, which is American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. They produce third-party audit reports in the form of, they don't produce, actually, they provide a kind of format or something. And companies, they produce SOC report for other companies who want services from them. So this is also something which we consult. Sometimes on-site assessment is not feasible due to many reasons. Then we rely on the SOC reports, right? So these are the things. These are the important points, basically, when it comes to some extra organizational processes in security governance. Right, then we come to the security role. Let's quickly wrap this up as well here. What are security roles? Actually, security roles, it helps in establishing a communication and support structure. As we have already seen in our previous video that we talked about in security management planning, we talked about this top-down approach of management hierarchy, that all the security initiatives are being driven from top management to the engineers who are actually implementing it. So the same thing is being discussed here as well, that in an organization, when it comes to security role, what it does, it helps in establishing a communication and support structure. So the end, on one end, the role, the most common role we see is a user role or an operator role, which is basically access what users want. They access to secure system. They are responsible for understanding and upholding security policies, right? So it's a shared responsibility. You can't exclude a user from the security role. They also bear the security responsibility to some degree, to some extent. And then we have senior managers. Senior managers are people who are ultimately responsible for the security of the organization. The security manager is the person who is most concerned about the protection of its asset, and they are the decision makers. So these are the key points. I would like to highlight these points. So they are the decision makers, which this is the point we have to always keep in mind, right? So if in any question, if there is a list of options given, and the question asks for who is the ultimate responsible, who bears the ultimate responsibility, so the answer will be most likely the person who sits at the top of the hierarchy. So if there is a senior manager, he is responsible. Then we have security professional. We call InfoSec officer, or we call computer incident response team, right? So they are the experienced network, system, or security engineers. They follows the directives by senior management. So you have some information security policy which talks about data protection, system redundancy, access rules, access control list. So those things are actually the responsibility of implementation of those things are with security professionals, basically, right? So they have the functional responsibility for security, writing the security policy and implementing it. The implementation will be done by engineer, but security professionals are kind of a bridge between the people who draft security policy and the people who actually implement security policy, right? The other role, which is called asset owner. Who is an asset owner? Asset owner is the high-level manager who is ultimately responsible for asset protection. He is responsible for classifying information, for placement and protection within the security solution. So if you remember, we talked about corporate governance, security governance, and IT governance, right? So the assets are not only the assets belonging to IT, there could be non-IT assets as well. It could be some data in the physical file or some locker, some documents. So those kind of thing, the person who is ultimately holding the responsibility of the information in those kind of document or system, they are the asset owners, right? So in IT, if there is an IT manager who is responsible for the domain authentication of all the users, right? So so that person becomes the asset owner of the domain controller, right? Data still belongs to the company, and that data, the liability of that data protection is still with the senior managers. But in terms of asset, the IT manager of the domain controller will be the asset owner, right? Then we have custodian. Who are custodian? Custodians are the people who performs all activities to maintain confidentiality, integrity, and availability. They are the people who actually do the technical work in the console, or they log in into the server and they do the basic work. They do the backup testing, validation of data integrity. They deploy the security solution. They manage the data storage based on classification, right? So those kind of job is custodian responsibility. The difference between asset owner and custodian is that asset owner actually owns the responsibility of securing, of classifying and securing the data. And custodian actually implements technology, or he takes due care in ensuring that whatever due diligence has been done by asset owner is implemented as a due care by custodian. We'll come to due diligence and due care later in next video. But as an overview, you just think of due diligence as doing all the necessary step of doing research, doing classification, documentation, and making a structure so that we have proper proof that we have taken all the necessary step to ensure CIA. And due care is basically execution of those controls in ensuring that those controls are really implemented on the system, right? The next key role is auditor. So there could be two types of auditor: external auditor or internal auditor. Auditors basically produce compliance and effectiveness reports. So these reports show the health of security in any organization. They review and verify security policy implementations. So these are the things which auditors do. So these all roles are required to effectively do security governance in any organization, right? So coming back to the main slide. Yeah, I think we have already covered the objective of this video. Next, we will be coming to security control framework, which is referenced basically in my first video, that we develop a security policy around a security framework. So we will dive a bit into security control framework and see what kind of frameworks exist in IT industry, or not only in IT industry, in any industry driven by IT system. And we'll see how it relates to the different the security governance techniques, basically. Thanks for watching this video. Let's meet into the next video. And as I already said, if you have any suggestion, comment, feedback, you can always comment. And if you like this series, you can always subscribe to my channel and put a thumbs up.